have a light box or place it behind your pattern. Otherwise, a glass table with a bright light underneath it or a window during the daytime will work just fine. If you're using a glass table or window, tape the pattern to the glass so that it won't move around. Next, smooth your squared off background fabric out over the paper pattern. You should be able to see the outlines of the images on the paper pattern through your background fabric. Place the fabric over the pattern so that the design is roughly centered. I find that it's easiest to see if your pattern is centered by checking the margins of your fabric around the outsides of the design. I check to see if I have roughly the same amount of space where the design ends to the edge of the fabric. However, if you look at the right side of this design, the words Alice in Wonderland extend a little bit out beyond that, but that's really all that's in this area. I don't really take this portion of these words into account when I'm centering the design because most of this area is white space. So I just look at the main part of the design when I'm centering. I also check to see if the horizontal grain or weave of the fabric runs parallel to the horizontal guidelines of the paper pattern. When I talk about the horizontal guidelines, I'm looking at these green dotted lines, just making sure that the grain of the fabric roughly lines up with those. Once you have your fabric printed over your design, you can tape your background fabric down on top of the pattern. However, if you are using a light box or a tablet that is not big enough to shine through your entire pattern, you don't want to tape your background fabric down. What you'll do instead is you'll pin your background fabric and the freezer paper, if you've used on freezer paper, together with your pattern once you've got it centered. I suggest you use safety pins. I said in the pattern instructions that one on each corner should be sufficient, but I've found it helps to have more than that. I'd say 8 or more, because there's always a chance that the pattern is going to get ripped where it's taped in one corner or in any of the areas where it's taped. And it is very helpful to just make sure that it's securely taped in the other areas so that things aren't shifting around.